Welcome back to this week's episode of Courage to Change, where I interview Denise Shaw, a future licensed professional drug and alcohol counselor. She did 6 years in the feds for drug trafficking. She's a published author and poet, young poet, and I didn't know it. And she's also the founder of Red Diamond Publications. I like what Denise says about slippers count. Also, I love what she said about we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan. Check it out. All right, Courage to Change is back this week with Denise Shaw. She's a highly influential community. She's had some federal charges. She served 6 years at 120-month sentence. She's a case manager of behavioral health rehabilitation specialist. She's a mentor. She's an author as well. She published a book called Young Poet and I Didn't Know It. And she's working on her second book, Slippers Count. So Denise, thank you for this opportunity and sharing your story with the world. First, I want to ask you about a little background. Can you tell us your story?
Okay, so I grew up in a home. It was 6 of us from my mom and 3 from my father, so it was 9 of us total. For the most part, my mom raised us by herself. My father just been in and out of prison my whole life, where he's currently at. Growing up, one thing that was always instilled in us was education.
Right.
So regardless of what happened throughout life, that's one thing I've always done was get educated. Because something about education, whatever you learn, nobody can take. That's one thing they cannot take from you. So that was one thing that I was big on coming up. I didn't grow up in a house where drugs were, that's all I knew. I actually had my mom. She sheltered us from.
So you never had a problem with like drugs or anything?
No.
Okay.
No. That wasn't the story. I just ended up. My mom raised me right. I did wrong on my own.
Right.
So I ended up hanging out with the wrong people one day, and I learned how to sell drugs. So the money was my addiction.
Okay.
And that's way, to me, that's just like being on some drugs. Because once I got a taste of it, growing up poor, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Right.
That's all I wanted to do. When I learned how to get money, I didn't want to do nothing else.
That's
but
good.
That.
Okay, so talk about your bottom.
My what?
Your bottom, the charges.
Okay. So when I was 18, I ended up getting my door kicked in. I've been selling drugs since I was 14. The police kicked my door in. It was just state charges at first, and I ended up going fed for distribution of crack cocaine and conspiracy. They ended up dropping all the charges, and I ended up just being charged with the distribution of cocaine substance, and I got 120 months, 10 years in federal prison. And while I was incarcerated, they ended up passing a crack law, which gave me 2 points off, and ended up taking my sentence down to 87 months while I was in there. And so also I had a drug program called RDAT while I was in there, and that gave me 18 months off.
That's cool. That's what's up. So in there, like, what were some conflicts that you ran into? When were you at? Did you ever have any run into any walls, like emotionally, or the conflicts with people?
When people ask me to explain my time being incarcerated, I tell them it was some long days and lonely nights.
Right.
Some long days and lonely nights, and it was just overall a humbling experience, especially my last time there, because when you take that program, RDAP, it makes you really take an in-depth look at your life and everything that led you up to that particular point. And so that was one of the difficult things about my time. The rest of it was really pretty much just doing my time, because I really didn't deal with people.
Right.
Having to share the dwellings with other people was a rude awakening. Being told what to do when you've made your own rules your whole life, that was another slap in the face. So. Okay.
Well, turning point. So, like, on your way, you're approaching parole or probation or what have you.
And did you like have a plan? What was going through your mind upon release?
I definitely had a plan, because one thing I knew that I wasn't going back there. And so I always tell people, planning to fail, failing to plan is planning to fail. You know what I'm saying? So I always had to come up with a plan. I went to school while I was in there. In the feds, they give you, let you go to some places, let you go to school for free. So I went to a community college there, got some college credits, did Votech for Microsoft. I learned how to type real good, and I passed that. So I was just basically just trying to gain a skill set so I could be successful when I got out.
And now you are.
Right.
And so talk about your profession now, your career, or your employment. Talk about being a specialist.
So once I got out, it was definitely difficult. Just trying to, felt like finding my way in the dark. You know, I really didn't have too much help. But one thing I knew is that I wanted to go back to school. I ended up going back to school at Langston.
Okay.
I got my bachelor's degree in psychology from Langston, and I ended up getting a job at a counseling agency, because originally my whole career goal was to be a teacher.
Right.
And that just all turned. And once I got a job at a counseling agency and I seen what they do and what they were about, it was something I was really interested in. So that's when my career field changed, and I ended up going back to OU and getting my master's to be a counselor.
That's awesome. So who were some influential people that poured into you and encouraged you along the way?
I had several. One of the big people that helped me out, I had a mentor, Crystal Perkins, and she's the one basically that helped me out when it came to me writing my book. She gave me the groundwork, the whole foundation, how to publish my own book, publishing company, how to edit and all that. And I met her back when I was in college the first time before I ever got incarcerated. So once I got out, and even while I was in there, I reached out to her a few times, and that was she's a big influencer in my life.
That's good. Okay, Fisher. So we were talking in the car on the way here, and I asked you to describe Denise in 1 or 2 words, and you said she's the truth.
She is the truth. She's
talk about your relationship.
She kind of, how she talks is real, modest, but this is a girl who has helped me the whole time I knew her. We kind of really got close, and when we were going to college together, there would be times where I remember real vividly that I was just too drunk to go and do my paper. And she would get me, I'm like, Denise, please help me with my paper. She was like, I'll help you. I'm like, here it go. I'll see you later. She like, nah, you got to come to the computer lab with me. And we'll proceed to be there. And I'm just all hung over and I don't want to be there. And she's, she basically did it for me. And you could tell because I get an A on the paper. But she held me accountable to my actions. And, when I heard she got incarcerated, man, it was a sad deal, because even, while we was in there, now she don't have a drug problem, but we definitely partied together, and just that whole time, man, she was just a go-getter, even in that lifestyle. It was just motivating, man. I'm getting money, and I thought I was getting a little money, and she was getting money too. I remember one time we was in a computer lab together, and somehow I got to talking about some money or something like that. So I pulled out, a stack or two, and she started pulling stacks out her Louis bag, and I started pulling out more stacks. And the lady in the computer lab is like, y'all need to put that away. She always been motivating me. So she had been out, a couple years or 3 years by the time I got released, and she had just accomplished so much. I talked to her while I was in. I can't get in trouble now, but I talked to her then. Even when I was in prison, she would give me recipes. She taught me how to make chicken Alfredo from scratch, in a microwave, fried rice with an ancient Chinese secret. Man, she just been coaching me all the way through. When I got out, I was just real anxious to get with her, and it had been some time, and I had already started, developing in this life of sobriety. And she was real proud of me, and she started immediately giving me tools to be more successful. Like I had no idea how to start my business, and she coached me all the way through it, step by step. I don't know where she gets this information from, but there's not a thing that I can't call on her and ask her about that she doesn't have in-depth, right guidance on the subject. And it's just an incredible asset to have. Like when it comes to publishing my book, like she gives me no short. She's like, you need to get this done, get this done, get this done, and get this done. And next time I talk to you, I'm not going to talk to you if you don't have this done. It's just a heavy motivator, man. And financial situations helping me get my credit on point. Like the advice that she gives me, I'm able to transmit to people in my sober living facility, and they owe you a debt of gratitude as well, because I got people whose credit scores is higher than mine because they took the advice that you gave me, and I didn't, but they did. I mean, it's like an incredible deal. This is an incredible woman, so that is why I suggested that you interview her. The information she has, the poise she has, the grace she has about what she got through is unmatched. I've never seen it before. And she got her degree, but I think she got it in what? How many years after you got out? How long did it take?
I got out in 2012. I went back. I actually started in 2013, and I graduated in 2014 with my bachelor's and 2015 with my master's.
That is incredible.
Yeah, that's dope.
And she didn't just graduate, at the bottom of her class. She graduated at the top.
3.8.
With the 3.8. Okay.
So coming out of prison, there's so low expectations for people like that, and she just exceeded all of them, man. It's just incredible to be able to know a woman like this.
That's good. Okay, so let's talk about your inspiration for writing your second book, Slippers Count.
I said Slippers Count. I wanted that to be the title because anytime you're slipping, it counts.
Right.
And you always have to make your next move, your best move, always.
Right. Fell forward.
Because I always tell people, you either need to do right or just do wrong. Because if you're doing right this whole time and you do one wrong thing, it takes away all your right. And nobody ever cares about all the right that you've done whenever you do that one wrong thing. Just like when I was in college when I caught my case. And when I got sentenced to 120 months, the judge looked me right in my face and said, "You'll still be young when you get out. Do you have anything to say?" At that point, what do I have to say? It didn't matter about me being in school, all the volunteering that I was doing. None of that mattered. So if you slipping, your slipping counts, especially if somebody catches you slipping. It's over for you.
I love it. Okay, so vision. Where do you see yourself in about 3 to 5 years from now?
I recently finished school. Like I said, I was going to be a therapist, so I'm about to get ready and go under supervision to be a licensed professional counselor. So hopefully in the next 2 or 3 years, I'm done with my supervision. I'm able to open up a private practice. In my private practice, my main specialty is at-risk youth, because I'm always believing in preventative measures. If you can prevent it from happening versus trying to clean up what somebody messed up. So I want to focus on preventive measures for at-risk youth, and then the elderly population, the aging population. They're often forgot about.
Right.
So sometimes they just want somebody to talk to. They have needs that they can't meet, and sometimes they don't always voice them because people get older, they get stuck in their ways. They don't want to ask for help. But when they find somebody that they can trust and see that they're not going to judge them about what they have going on, they'll open up and talk to you. So them is my 2 target areas.
That's what's up. Okay, so you are a superhero in your own right, as I can see now. So if I was to ask you if there's any superhero out there that you would be, which superhero would it be? Or if there's a superpower that you would have or you could have, what would it be and why?
I kind of got something from both. So I think, like you said, I think I'll probably say Wonder Woman. I'm gonna say that because I'm always trying to help people. Like especially if I see you trying to help yourself, Like, I will go to, hell and back for you, to help you you tell me what your goals are and you're hungry and you want to meet those. I'm so willing to step in and, help you get where you're trying to go. And that's with anybody, even complete strangers that I don't even know, so I think that would be legitimate. And superpower, I was going to say turn back the hands of time, but you know what? If I had to do it all over again, it made me who I am, so I don't think I would change anything.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. Okay, well, I think we're done. Do you have any more questions for her? Thank you so much, Denise. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I can't wait to have more conversations with you.
Likewise.
And that's it. Brian Wright, Denise Shaw, E. Fisher, it's Courage to Change. Grace and peace. Until next time.